When society breaks down, the first thing we look to rebuild is the law. Before food, water, and infrastructure, we need a code to live by. But while our new order is in its early stages, we can't rely on the goodness of man to enforce our code. We need a brave soul to do that for us. I think I know the perfect man for the job. For Honor currently features 12 playable characters and 4 character classes. Today we're going to talk about the Lawbringer, a hybrid class. Strong and domineering, the Lawbringer is an intimidating foe for any opponent. Combining the stamina draining and counter-attacking capabilities of heavy classes while also having versatile chain attacks, he's a stalwart defender and a furious aggressor. All of his moves are relatively slow, but their power more than justifies the lack of speed. The Lawbringer has a long list of moves and attack chains, but they're all straightforward. His chain attacks are all easy to understand 1-2-3 combos, but there are 2 special notes about them. The final hit in his Judge, Jury, and Executioner combo is unblockable, and his Swift Justice combo can be extended with a guaranteed light attack if the final hit is dealt from the top. His attack chains, like most characters' chains, are difficult to land in their entirety, but there is a way for the Lawbringer to forward his chains quicker, and that's via his Shove. Shove is an important asset for the Lawbringer. It helps him take control of the pacing of battles. Like the other bashing abilities in the game, it deals stamina damage and it can be activated after dashing forward, left, or right. It has super armor on activation, which means it can't be interrupted. It can also be activated after landing a successful heavy attack. Finally, it can be used as a counter move after blocking an attack. Shove acts as a chain starter, which means it takes the place of the first hit in your attack chains. Shove can be followed up with every other move in the Lawbringer's arsenal, which means if you keep your opponent guessing about what your intentions are, you can create devastating mind games. The long arm is a slow activating, stamina draining knockdown. A missed long arm will make you vulnerable to a guard break, but you're guaranteed a side heavy attack on an opponent knocked down by the move, which can then be followed by a shove mix-up for additional stamina damage. Something you should be noticing is that the Lawbringer's abilities chain together in very explosive ways, but we'll talk more about that later. Now for the moves the Lawbringer is known for, his parry follow-ups. Unlike other characters who need to rely on guard breaks or attacks after successful parries, the Lawbringer has unique follow-ups for every situation. Light Riposte is a guaranteed counterattack after every successful parry, regardless of weapon range or attack type. When it hits, it stuns your opponent, which means their UI is removed for a short duration. Blind Justice is a guaranteed counter when used after parrying a light attack. It deals massive damage and stuns the target hit. When used after a heavy attack parry, it's not guaranteed to connect. Impaling Riposte is the most situational of the Lawbringer's follow-ups. In my experience, it's only guaranteed after a light parry. When activated, you impale your target and charge forward. Upon release, if your target hits a wall, they'll splat against it, which will guarantee a side heavy or a top heavy if you switch your guard fast enough. Finally, Make Way is an area of effect follow-up attack. It grants super armor when activated, which means it's good for fighting multiple opponents. So those are his moves. Now let's see how they function in a fight. The Lawbringer is all about switching between being passive and being aggressive. When he's on the offensive, he's truly terrifying. Shove is a great initiation move and is generally followed up by a light attack or a guard break, but using a heavy attack instead will set you up for your unblockable Judge, Jury, and Executioner chain. It can be defended against, but powerful attacks like these keep people on their toes, and sometimes they're not ready for so much aggression. It's something I like to call the deer in headlights effect. When you see a 7-foot-tall man swinging the most versatile weapon ever created towards your face, sometimes you just freeze up. Of course, the better your opponents are, the less likely they are to panic when they hear you screaming at mortem inimicus, but that doesn't mean they're not prone to making mistakes. Even the best players are still human. With that said, his aggression can be precisely timed. When your opponent is out of stamina, they're most vulnerable to your big, damaging attacks. Repeatedly shoving will keep your target's stamina drained while you figure out the best course of action. Then, when you see an opportunity, you can chain into your preferred combo. A standard out of stamina punish for the Lawbringer is shove heavy, then heavy feint. This has the potential to bait an enemy into parrying, and while they're out of stamina, they can't do anything to cancel it. With that in mind, you don't always have to use the same tricks. Keep people guessing about how, when, and where you're going to spank them. That's pretty good advice for the bedroom too. The Lawbringer is at his best when he's on the defensive, and that's because stamina, yours and your opponent's, is crucial to your success. As much fun as it is shoving people around like a schoolyard bully and following up with haymakers and top heavies, most people are smart enough and fast enough to step out of the way. A more conservative playstyle will allow you to take full advantage of your parry follow-ups and your explosive chain attacks. When those two sides of the Lawbringer are working together, it's devastating to watch. In this duel versus a Shigoki, my opponent was being overly aggressive. After blocking a few attacks, I saw an opening for a parry, then let loose a volley of moves. In case you missed it, parry, light riposte, top heavy, shove, side light. 4 moves in under 5 seconds. This character is all about shifting between low and high intensity, stalking your enemy, then unleashing a devastating combo when the time is right. Speaking of the right time, there's a right time for each parry follow-up and room for experimentation as well. Like I mentioned before, light riposte will always connect, but it deals minimal damage. On a successful light parry, I mentioned you can guarantee big damage with blind justice, but if you like to gamble, light riposte and keep the pressure on while your target is stunned. Impaling riposte is the biggest reward when it splats your enemy against a wall, but if it doesn't, then, well, you just tickled your enemy and moved him a few feet. Since the Lawbringer is a counter-attacker with guaranteed follow-ups for every type of attack, there aren't any characters he can't take down. But there are some he has trouble with. The Nobushi is a tough one because of her speed and agility, 2 things that shut down your slow but powerful attacks and moves. You can create openings and trade blows with shove and the super armor it provides, but the Nobushi will almost always win those trades because of her Way of the Shark passive and high damage bleeds. Other fast characters like the Peacekeeper, Orochi, and Berserker can be bothersome, but a few good parries will shut down whatever spam and cheese they were intending on dishing out. Finally, the Kensei is a direct counter to this counter-attacker. Assuming for a moment that you're attempting to parry some attacks and not just blocking, shoving, and light attacking, the Kensei with his mastery of feints and decent dodge attacks will stop your parry attempts dead in their tracks. In 4 vs 4 content, the Lawbringer is the ultimate support tank. His high health pool makes him difficult to take down at his default, but the abilities Body Count, Righteous Deflection, and Second Wind will keep him going longer than the Energizer Bunny. Those abilities combined with moves like Long Arm and Shove for crowd control make him a valuable part of any team composition. Overall, the Lawbringer is a powerful character with clear weaknesses and even clearer strengths. He can be beaten by fast opponents, but with sharp enough reactions and nerves of steel, even the fastest men and women in For Honor will get shut down. Victory. So there you go, this has been an overview of the Lawbringer. As always, the name of the game is For Honor, the name of the channel is iBluairJgR Gaming for Comedy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.